Hello, sacral beauties. Welcome to the SheSacral Podcast, where we focus all on burnout, hormones, and all the things that really take power away from women, especially PMDD. Today, I did want to talk about just a unique experience and how that has actually opened my eyes to a hidden thing that I didn't realize that could be happening with PMDD as well, and that is grief. So very recently, about a month ago, I lost my dog of almost 17 years. And he was my whole baby, okay? Toy poodle baby boy. He was my ride or die. He went everywhere with me. I raised him from when he was 6 weeks old until he was 3 months away from being 17, and he started to experience a lot of seizures, and it was just kind of out of nowhere kind of late onset, and it was breaking my heart to see him suffer through that. And I had to make this awful decision, brave decision, to let him go, and never experienced that before. Never gone through that before, and it completely tore me up. So that's why I've been a little absent for a while. I haven't been here just because I have not been in that good mental space to be able to kind of be here and be present and give my best. But through that process and that experience, I was grieving, right? I was not eating. I was barely drinking. I definitely was not doing any kind of wellness practices whatsoever. I was not taking any supplements. I was not getting any fiber. I was just kind of going straight for comfort food as much as possible. So all the things that I would share to help women handle anything to do with PMDD and to get their bodies in order, to feel good and to feel all those good positive moods and have your moods balanced throughout the month. I wasn't doing any of that. I wasn't moving my body. I wasn't exercising. I was just laying in bed for a majority of the time. And most of that was because I wanted so deeply to feel connected to him in any way that I could. Rather, that was through dreams, trying to dream and see him, holding his toys. Like, there's just so much that I wanted to do, and that wellness was just not a priority for me whatsoever. And as I got to each phase of my cycle through this grieving journey, in fact, I actually started my new cycle the day after I had to put my baby down. It all started. So it was a full cycle of grief. And, where normally when everything is pretty neutral or okay, you feel all of the good things with each phase, right? You feel more confident and productive in the follicular phase, and more, confident around ovulation and all of that. And that was just not the case, right? The emotions of grief completely would override all of that. So number one, that is absolutely a factor that came into place, where it doesn't matter, your hormones are always fluctuating throughout your cycle. But when you go through something very devastating, when you're going through grief, when you're going through stress, when you're going through just a tough time in life, it's going to override everything. It will absolutely override everything. It didn't help that I was not going outside. I was staying in the dark. I was not eating, right? All of that. And so when it got down to that luteal phase of the time where you need the most nutrients, and everything that you've been doing from the month before is going to show up during that time, I was not doing well. Physically, mentally, emotionally, I felt very similarly to how I used to feel in my 20s when I dealt with PMDD and a lot of like luteal symptoms of even the bloating, the gas, and feeling sick, and just like, all of those things that we label as normal. I re-experienced those things after not experiencing that, right? I had learned all the right nutrients and everything that my body needed specifically in regards to taking care of my hormones. So I didn't experience that. But when I stripped everything down and I was kind of almost not realizing, maybe you were in spaces of grief that you didn't realize before. And so that's what has brought me to this episode today, because I don't think that we factor in grief into our experience of PMDD or even hormonal imbalances. So I want to deep dive into this with you a little bit more, just in case if this brings a little light bulb or aha moment for any woman that is out there. Okay, so let's talk about grief for a moment. Now, a lot of people think grief is like just being really sad, like you're really sad or really depressed, and that is not the case. You do feel sad, but it's because grief is the intense missing and longing of the thing that you felt attached to. And it is so much deeper than just the emotions, right? There's a whole physical thing that happens when we experience grief. We go through searching a lot of times with trying to find the thing that we've lost, rather that's in a breakup, rather that is someone that we love that has passed away. The brain has created this internal map, right? So even though we're kind of going through our lives and we're going through our environments, we see our environments and we're like, okay, la la la, everything is fine. What we don't realize is that our brain records everything. And it kind of fills in a lot of gaps by itself. And so the brain will do that. And so when there is something that is supposed to be there that is no longer there, rather it's your routine, rather it's a pet that you've lost, rather it's someone that you're used to seeing that you don't see anymore. Sometimes there's even certain objects that we have an attachment to. It all depends. We're all so unique in what we feel that strong attachment and association with. And so when that thing is missing and we have that deep bond and attachment to it, and we're no longer receiving that biofeedback of getting oxytocin, like the feel-good hormones, all that good stuff, you break physically. You break. And that plays a major role in how our hormones are going to be regulated moving forward. So with that, I want to just ask you, and you can comment down below, if you are going through PMDD, has there been something recently or when PMDD has started that you are experiencing grief? Sometimes it's a little bit tricky. Sometimes we can experience grief and disappointment even from our own dreams and goals, especially if we visualized it so much. We attached ourselves to it. We believed that it was coming. We believed that we were going to have it, and something interfered and something took that away. We could even be grieving that and not realizing how much we really are grieving. And I think one of the major things that makes healing hard in grieving is what I have learned, which is called disenfranchised grief, where the thing that you are grieving, you're going through it, you're hurting. Typically, you want support, or support kind of softens the thing for you. But the thing that you are grieving to society doesn't seem like that big of a deal, or it doesn't seem as intense or as serious as losing a child, or losing a parent, or losing a sibling, or losing someone like a human that's super close to you. A lot of people only kind of understand or resonate with that as, oh man, this is really serious. This is something that's going to take a lot of time. And so there's a little bit more of an expectation to let that person grieve. if you've lost a pet, more people are becoming more understanding to that, but there's still kind of this unspoken of, all right, after about a month, like you should be good, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like you just feel that. You really do feel that. And so that can kind of stunt your healing process. Just feeling the expectation of having to be back 100%, even though you'll never be the same again. Or even grieving the loss of something that you really wanted. Maybe you wanted to have children and that's not working out. You're grieving, maybe there was something that you really wanted to happen and that didn't happen for you and that didn't work out. There's grieving in that, but to the rest of multiple people, what does that sound like to them? It sounds like, oh, you're complaining. You just need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and move on and like get back up and do what you need to do and move forward. Like just get over it. So there's always kind of that energy that's received. And that's not really true because a lot of times they just haven't experienced that feeling, so it's hard for them to empathize. But what I have found is that typically those that are supporting others that are grieving through something, a lot of times it's very uncomfortable to be around others that are uncomfortable. For the person that is the supporter, maybe you feel like, oh, I have to temper myself. I have to temper my happiness because they're sad. I don't know how to navigate this, or I really want to move on from this because I am not going through it, but I also want to be there for them and show support. So there becomes kind of this really difficult process for the person that's grieving because the griever also feels that pressure to just bounce back. But it doesn't change how you're feeling inside just because we start doing things physically that makes it look like on the outside that we're doing okay. So take all of that in consideration, and that can actually stunt our emotional growth as well. If you notice, there's a lot of people that have been traumatized, that have just gone through so much, right? Trauma is also a big thing. And I also don't think that people realize the grief that comes with trauma, whatever the trauma is. Because every single one of us, before we go through something traumatic, we always want the best experience. We want to be happy. We want to have love. We want to feel healthy. We want to feel good in our bodies. We want to feel all the great things. We want everyone to be happy, right? We want all of the things that we want. And so in traumatic experiences where we've lost our health, maybe there was something that was extremely terrifying that has stuck with us, that has changed us. There are things that we have seen that we cannot unsee. There's so much that happens in traumatic experiences that you feel cheated in life. You feel jaded by what has happened to you. Why did this happen to you, right? And there's grief that comes with that because we start to create a lens and film in life that we are at a disadvantage. And grief is one thing. We're missing, we're longing for the thing that we're attached to, even if it's abstract. But it spirals into other emotions. It can spiral into resentment. It can spiral into bitterness. It can spiral into anger. It can spiral into depression and sadness. It can spiral into comparison. It can spiral into so many different emotions that can completely transform your personality. So when you start living your life through these emotions, it impacts your sense of thinking. It impacts your habits. It impacts your behaviors. It impacts you and the things that you choose for yourself, the foods that you choose for yourself, what you're naturally attracted to. When we are in the space of negative emotions, the body is always trying to compensate for those negative emotions. And one of the quickest ways to transform that feeling is through food. This is why nutrition is so important, but there's such a big gap. Rather the food is considered to be healthy or not, it doesn't matter. The body is going to want to feel good. The body does not want to be in pain. Pain means that something is wrong. So this is how we kind of get in that trap. And I think there's just such a big gap in the wellness industry where you have people that are super, super healthy, right? They're eating the salads, their green juice, they're getting their protein in. And you have to kind of be in a mental space to even crave that. And so when you have someone that's on the complete opposite of that and their emotions are in this negative space, you are not going to crave lettuce. You are not going to crave fiber, right? You're going to crave the carbs. You're going to crave the sugar. You're going to crave, oh, I need to relax. Give me the alcohol. You're going to crave all the things to begin to suppress those emotions. Unfortunately, the things that suppress your emotions also suppress your body clearing out a lot of those hormones that help you to feel good all month long. It starts to create a backup of estrogen that is recirculating through your body and intensifying your emotions and your experiences even more. There's so much involved. And then there's this middle gap as well, where we think that we're being really, really healthy, but we're still missing a lot of other nutrients that are super important because they're just not in our everyday foods, especially if you live in the US, in other countries as well. So even collectively as a society, we're not happy. We're not happy. Most of us are in this survival mode. Even if physically we have all of the resources, we have the things that we need, but there's a lot of things that we still could be missing. And it's that missing, the grief underlying everything that is driving so much. I just wanted to come and share that because I had gotten myself in a good space of learning how to work with my body, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm good. I feel good all month long. Wow, amazing. I didn't know that I could feel like this. And I've been able to help other women do the same. But when I stripped away my nourishment, my exercise, my routines, the things, my attachments, my dog, all the things that made me feel like me, when all those things were stripped, I felt those PMDD symptoms again. So this is for any woman that is struggling to find answers into what could be the cause, what could be going on. These negative emotions are not just random. It's not just because you're a woman, right? No, our bodies are so intelligent. And I always say we are never, ever, ever designed to intentionally be in pain. Pain is a signal that tells us that something is not right. So if this episode has resonated with you, if it has sparked a little light bulb to say, is there something I'm grieving? Is there something that's been missing in my life that I have been really wanting? Is there something that I've lost? Is there something that has impacted me that I did not realize? Ask yourself that today. If you're looking for deeper support, you are more than welcome to join the community, the Pleasure Wire. The link is down below. I'd be happy to support you in any way that I can and speak to you one-on-one so that way I can get to know you personally, okay? All right, well, this concludes today's episode. Thank you so much for showing up for yourself today, and thank you for tuning in to the SheSacral Podcast.